2023 was a bad year for wildfires in Alberta. It was especially devastating for one remote First Nation in northern Alberta.
There are 93 wildfires in the forest protection area of Alberta. 25 of those are out of control. So far this year, we've responded to 493 wildfires, burning nearly 830,000 hectares. For reference, that's about 10 times the size of the Metro Calgary area.
But we're not here to talk about the wildfire season, the response, or the community. We're here to talk about one small on-reserve business in the community that was destroyed and nearly ignored by Indigenous Services Canada's Emergency Management Assistance Program. A business that to this very day has still not been reimbursed the money Canada owes it, despite submitting all required documents over a year ago and being approved for the reimbursement. We are telling this story for two reasons: to share what was learned so other on-reserve business owners don't get ignored, and to bring an awareness to the fact that Canada, through its Emergency Management Assistance Program, must recognize the importance of supporting on-reserve economic recovery in the same way it supports non-Indigenous economic recovery following disasters. But first, let's talk about inequality. Canada already has a lengthy history in treating Treaty First Nations differently than municipalities through its emergency management programming. For example, Public Safety Canada has a standing mechanism through Treasury Board to request emergency funds when Parliament is not in session. This money goes directly to provinces and territories to support municipal disaster recovery. The Indigenous Services Canada Emergency Management Assistance Program does not have this same ability. It has to wait until Parliament is convened. And this created significant issues during prorogation in early 2025. For example, Jasper was able to receive funding through Public Safety Canada's standing authorization, while First Nations had to wait until Parliament reconvened. Okay, back to our story. Despite Ottawa's lack of response and the Fox Lake Lunchbox has rebuilt on their own steam, under their own horsepower, trying to manage their cash flow as they reopen and try to reestablish their life's work. And I want to thank Fox Lake Lunchbox owners Viola and Wendell Pleasant and their family for allowing me to take part in the telling of their story, which you're going to hear from their words next. Yeah, let's just, where do you want to, I think people might want to know a little bit of the history about the Fox Lake Lunchbox. So why don't you give us a little breakdown of when it was first started and how it was going leading up to the fire.
All right, so we officially opened May 20th, 2015. And like everything, first few weeks or months seemed good, and then you hit the bad seasons where things slow down. Encountered little bits of trouble with the learning curve, I guess.
Yeah. You started a business, you're growing a business, you're trying to, learn from that and make a bit of a market for yourself.
So then as the years went on, we started to get a little bit better at what we were doing, and then grew a little tiny bit in size. And then there's starting to seem to be light at the end of the tunnel. There's the fire.
Right. And so that was May 2nd, 2023-ish, right? And is that the exact day? Do you know if the lunchbox burned down, or was it the first or the third?
I think it was the third.
Okay.
I can't say for sure. I wasn't here. And then the videos that were sent to me, I can't seem to find anymore.
Okay. And yeah, and you were evacuated all through that. So you didn't have any ability to kind of stay behind and try to do. We just had a momentary loss of Wi-Fi there, but we're back. Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, there's no fire hydrants in town. there's no structural protection for you guys, right? That even if you were in town, it would have been basically impossible for you to really do anything significant to protect the store.
Yeah, I don't think you could have did anything.
Yeah.
Like I think the flames just rolled right over this area. That's the rumor I heard.
Yeah. And so you're evacuated. I imagine you're probably, your family is safe. That's good. But I mean, you've probably got the business and your house on your mind because your house burned down too, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. So you lost both your home and the lunchbox. So kind of going in through like the month of May, like those first couple of weeks, what was going through yours and Viola's minds as you discussed, like you were probably getting information, very choppy information, but what was going through your minds during that time?
Like going into the evacuation.
Yeah, like May 4th through to the end of the month, like those first initial 2 or 3 weeks.
How do you pick up the pieces? Well, and then there was no pieces. I don't know. The thought was just how long is it going to take us to find a building or build a building and get it up and running?
Yeah, because when did you find out for sure that you lost your home and the lunchbox? You remember?
The particular day?
Well, or was it like early in May? Was it June, July?
It was early in May.
It was early. Okay.
I believe it was I think it was the 3rd.
Okay, so you found out pretty quick then.
Yeah.
Okay. And so fast forward a little bit to kind of when I got into the community and started working with the emergency management team. Because I think by my memory, we first approached Indigenous Services Canada about small business financial assistance for you and some others. Probably like pretty quick. Like, was it June, July? It was pretty quick. We brought it up with them.
I thought it was June.
June, yeah. We hopped right on that, and ISK. Do you remember what ISK's initial response was?
Yeah, the response that was communicated to me was it's not eligible. Fox Lake Lunchbox is not eligible for coverage.
Right.
Then when I asked for a bit more detail, it was just broken down kind of like they have nothing organized on their end for when it's a business that belongs to an individual rather than the nation.
Right.
So basically, it's telling me if the nation owned the business, they could have covered it, but if an individual, then they have nothing set up for that.
Right. And so yeah, that's the initial word for the government. So kind of keep going along that lines, like in your recollection, like what was kind of the chain of events that followed on through that?
I mean, after speaking with you, then it was kind of like gather up as much information as we could and then go at them again.
Yeah, so we gathered information about like your revenue, the buildings and structures, your stock inventory, all those accounting records, right?
All those accounting records, yeah.
Yep.
I think that we might have even so basically inventory and then assets and any sales history.
Yep.
Which seemed like it was just to prove that we were doing what we said we were doing, I guess.
Right. And then like for me, the next step was because Indigenous Services Canada always touts that, they rely on the provincial territorial disaster recovery policy to make decisions in their region. That's when we brought forward the case that the Alberta recovery program does support small business. So the question became, if that's the case, why isn't Ottawa and the region recognizing that for you? Right?
That's right. And then it seemed like they started changing their tone after that.
Yeah, that's when we then went and got the evidence around insurance not being reasonably and readily available for you, which meant kind of check that box that you couldn't get insurance, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so yeah, then at the end of the day, we filled out a statement of loss and damage form. We submitted all of the damage assessment, the documentation, the insurance piece, and I think what was it? It was sometime in the fall, early fall, that ISK came back and said you were eligible.
Right. I believe it was early fall. Yeah.
Yeah, like we got pretty quick policy approval in principle. But then we still had to go through again the process of getting all of your assets, your buildings, all your inventory, all valued under the damage assessment, so the government could put a dollar value to that.
That's right. So
Yeah,
yeah, we had to submit everything to coastal claims there, and then they evaluated and then prepared the documentation for the recovery team to submit to this.
yeah, and so that, like, let's go with the time frame. That's fall 2023, and I think we got a definite I think approval on the initial amount, the initial application. Like, was it before Christmas, do you remember, or was it just into the new year 2024?
I thought it was spring of 2024.
Okay, it was a little bit later. So we got because you started when because you and Viola had to make the decision on what you were going to do, right? Regardless of government support or not. Like you're going through this whole mental process of not even knowing if you'll get the money, let alone what do you do. So what was kind of that decision making process for you while you were waiting to hear back on what kind of support you would get?
We I don't know, we felt we couldn't wait.
Yeah.
So it had already been too long. Life's already basically ripped apart, I guess. So we actually started building in February of 2024.
Yeah, you made the decision to kind of like under your own finances, um, do what you could to start actually try to rebuild the store, because I think part of it, maybe I don't want to speak for you, but also at the same time, right? Like Fox Lake grocery store is not rebuilt. There's only the temporary store and it's not big enough. So there's like a huge need in the community still today for a business like yours, right? Because it's like there's like 3,700 people almost in Fox Lake and not even a
Yeah.
big enough grocery store.
Yeah, we do not have anything big enough to suit the needs of the community.
Yeah. So, okay, so you made that decision. What was that like? Like making a decision to rebuild, not knowing if you were going to be supported. Like just kind of walk us through what that felt like.
Um, I don't know. I don't know really. Like it was um felt almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because like so, we scrape together enough and we build a shell of a building, and now we have to sit and wait and save and save and save to try to move on to the next step.
Yeah, you're doing it kind of piecemeal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you would have received so you did receive an initial payment from the government like end of spring. I can't remember. I think those payments started coming through kind of just after prorogation kind of ended there when the after the election, like in the April May time frame.
No, we never got no funds till the fall.
Fall 2024?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I had it in my head that it came a lot more quickly than that. Okay, so you got your first tranche of funding. That was what, May, June, July, August, September, like 17 months after the fire?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is crazy.
A bit.
Yeah. So, especially because, again, this whole thing I'm trying to tie back to is ISK told you at the beginning it wasn't eligible. Then they changed their minds after a lot of pressure. And then even then, it was still a year for them to get the money flowing.
Well, and then it was only a piece of the pie,
A
right?
piece.
So they only distribute the funds for the replacement value of the building.
Right. Yeah, they hadn't even considered the inventory and all the equipment and stock loss.
That's right.
Right. And so that's what you're waiting for now, correct? Or did you get another second payment, or you've just got the one?
Just the one.
Okay. So yeah, you're now headed into, like, it's February. You're headed in, and ISK. So you've received a letter from the region, stating what exactly? That you're gonna have to wait longer.
Correct. So I sent an email, just following up on where we stand, and I was told should have an answer before I'm just trying to look for the email, but I believe it says the 31st of March.
Yeah, and then so from that answer, you then wrote to the minister.
And when a reply finally came, it basically said the exact same.
Yeah. So you're now going to be 3 years to rebuild your business, and you still aren't going to have all of the funding.
Correct.
Like that would never happen in a non-Indigenous community, at least in Alberta.
Yeah, I think you are right. Wow. There's just been proof of it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know I'm right because I used to sign off on the small business disaster financial assistance checks for the government of Alberta, and first payments, second, third payments for small businesses, like within 6 months, especially with the Calgary High River floods. Look at Jasper. Like I don't think there's a small business there going without support for 3 years.
Yeah, I guess not enough. We don't see enough passer buyers, I guess.
You're not not tourist enough. You're not on the highway.
We're not on the highway yet.
And yeah, so this is, for me, like me looking from where I sit as a non-Indigenous person who doesn't live on a reserve. Like, to me, this is just an utter and complete failure of Canada's emergency management system for First Nations, because they don't even recognize in the emergency management assistance program economic recovery support, which, they do for non-Indigenous communities, but they don't for anything on reserve.
Yeah, and that's kind of a crazy thought. Like, it makes one think, do they think we're not capable of it, or do they just think that we shouldn't?
Yeah, that I remember, like, having so many conversations with the region about economic recovery. We were trying to get like an economic disaster recovery coordinator funded for the recovery team to help, someone like you or other small businesses try and get through this process. And they just flat outright said no, even though economic recovery coordinator positions were being funded for the Jasper fire.
Different location, I guess.
Yeah. So like so for you right now, because you could see in the intro video, like the lunchbox is open. You're doing business. You're funding this all yourself. You're waiting for the money. I know like cash flow's a bit tight because you're funding the inventory and all of the equipment that's in there on your own. What is it like today in terms of having to wait for the government to do what they promised to you almost 3 years ago, but haven't yet fulfilled it?
I guess by now at this point, it almost seems like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You just continue on. Just baby steps.
Yeah. And I mean, you and Viola have been, like, your whole family have been extremely positive through all of this. And like for me, I think it's a lot because like you grew up in Fox Lake, you grew up out in that area. I mean, you have no choice but to kind of be patient and wait, right? That's just how you are out there with things. I don't know if that's fair of me to say, but that's how I see it.
I mean, yeah, you are just forced to sit here patiently and wait. With the river and no proper crossing of the river. It, to do anything major, we're always waiting on winter.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like you just haul the stuff in winter and then you wait till summer
Yeah, you've got
for there to be any action.
Yeah, you've got the geographical, challenges and barriers that come with season to season, but you right now as a business owner trying to recover, you're also faced with the lack of government response, their policy indecision, the time that it's taken them to flip-flop from saying it's not eligible to it's eligible and then finally getting the money out. Like in my mind, they approved the money and the funding for the whole recovery a year and a half ago, but because of their current fiscal budget situation, they just don't want to put out the money. And it just kills me to know that what they actually owe you in the totality of everything that they've done across the country for all the wildfire response and recovery, like your last payment is not even 0.5% of that total, and they're not budging to even do something within the next month.
Yeah, it's a bit heartbreaking, I guess.
I don't know. I think I get more frustrated and upset than you do.
Well, you probably do, but based on the differences of where you are and where I am,
Yeah.
like you just grow used to it.
That's what I hate, right? That for me, that's what I see that inequality, and it's very frustrating, and you have no choice but to wait. But I think there's also kind of an element of, the waiting is kind of because that's how it's always been, so that's how it's going to be. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's other things that could be done to kind of trigger action. It's going to take time, but yeah, I don't want to see you guys have to wait anymore. It's killing me.
Wow, we don't want to wait anymore.
No.
But what else can you do?
Well,
I
have this
I sent
conversation.
emails inquiring about it, and then basically just get the same response.
Yeah. What what right now, like with the lunchbox, because I mean, out of the fire, like let's look at the positive. Coming out of the fire, it did provide you an opportunity to rebuild the building you wanted, right? At least to what you could get it to, like the store that you had always kind of hoped for in a sense. How is that going in terms of that vision and getting it to that?
I mean, I think it's going good. Um, just undersized. Just like you mentioned about the actual grocery store here in Fox Lake, like it's just a temporary one. It's too small.
Yeah, so your new building is still like undersized.
Well, without there being a proper grocery store, like yeah, it makes it way undersized.
Yeah. And what about like in terms of, because you've got your family works there, you do have some employees, right? You're trying to kind of manage the day to day. What's kind of next on the horizon as you look at, coming out of this fire and out of this recovery? Like, what are you kind of hoping for next, other than the money from ISK?
Um, Probably just try to expand a bit more.
Yeah. Are you what's your concern with another wildfire occurring?
Um, well, no real fire department,
Yeah.
inadequate fire hydrants. Um,
Probably still can't get insurance.
Actually, no,
Oh,
I
you did
did
get,
find I did manage to find an insurer.
did you?
Yeah, so we're covered there.
Is it the structure and all the inventory and assets in there?
Yes.
Okay. Is it, I won't ask you how much it costs, but in your mind, is it affordable? Is it reasonable?
I don't know if I would say it's reasonable.
Okay. Do
I
you,
guess in all honesty, I don't know what it would cost, like in high level.
yeah.
I guess I never asked them that question.
Did they make any mention about whether, if there was an enhanced fire service or department or hydrants in the community, did they mention if that had any impact on the premium?
I believe it did because I had to tell them the distance of the fire hydrant.
Yeah, which is what is that? Is there even one?
Well, there is.
There's one,
I
right?
just there's I don't know how many there actually is at work, but the one closest to me is I don't even remember the measurement, but I would think it's closer to 500 yards.
Okay, so a decent away, right? That it's, if you had one where, a regular neighborhood, a non-indigenous neighborhood would have fire hydrants, you'd probably have one within meters to, you know 10, 20, 50 yards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. And is the lunchbox on the treatment system?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So you could potentially, because I don't think you have a sprinkler system in there, right?
No, we don't have a sprinkler system.
No. You could potentially have one installed if you wanted to go that route, if it made sense for you to, if it brought your insurance down or something, but I mean, still, that's a pretty big task.
I think that's a humongous task.
Yeah, especially with it being built already.
Well, even yeah, I can't even imagine how much that would increase the cost.
Well, if ISK ever pays you back, maybe you could shift some
Yeah.
money towards, mitigation or something like that.
Yeah, or it probably should have been added to the calculation.
Hmm. Yeah, but I mean, but in fairness, right? Like any project, you had a budget, you had a timeline. I mean, you weren't even 100% sure if you were going to get any money reimbursed. Like you had to make some pretty difficult decisions to move forward financially, right?
Yeah, it was yeah, a lot of hard times for a bit there. Yeah.
So, I mean, what kind of like if you were chatting with another on reserve business owner, kind of who was in your situation, 4 years ago, and they had not experienced like a major wildfire disaster like you did, what kind of advice would you give them today, knowing what you know?
You mean like somebody to go through the same thing I went through?
Yeah, so there's a store owner on another reserve that's got a store like yours. They've never had a major disaster. They're like nearly 8 years in. No fire hydrants, no insurance, never experienced anything like this. Then they bump into you and you get talking and they ask you, "Okay, Wendell, what should I be thinking about right now for my business before we get a major disaster?"
I guess the community's fire department, location of, well, yeah, you said there was no fire hydrants. So, yeah, trying to have some sort of something in place. Um, I don't know, based like if it's a place similar like this, like you're basically hooped.
Yeah,
Like they're like, yeah, I can tell them what they should be able to do, but they're gonna have to come up with it all on their own. So, like, yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it depends on their situation. What
Infrastructure of the communities is just not where it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, what are you hoping, you know, like we're going to use this podcast to kind of like bring some awareness to your issue, but the larger issue in general about the lack of support from Indigenous Services Canada around economic recovery and small businesses. Like what if you could see success out of ISK and the EMAP program over the next few years, like what would you like to see come out of all of this for the next person?
Well, the timeline to be cut down.
Yeah.
Not cut down, it should just be the same as it is anywhere else off of reserve.
Yeah. Yeah, some equality in that regard.
Everybody wants to preach equality, but then like it's still just left the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing about resilience, right? I think if like so many businesses in major cities like Calgary, high level, Fort McMurray, like, a lot of them didn't end up going back for so many reasons. Some of them couldn't recover. Some of them didn't want to recover. But like your ability and Viola's ability to kind of stick with it, because really you don't have a choice because you're not going to leave your home, and you've got to deal with the environment. Like you both have displayed, like your entire family have displayed a level of resilience that I don't think a lot of people in this country are akin to.
Yeah, probably they're not. Um,
Especially business
but like
owners.
you but like you said, where else do you go? Like, I don't know. Home is home, I guess.
Home is home. It's yeah, it's just incredible to me that as much as Canada wants to talk about economic development and supporting First Nations and things like that, they can't even get money out the door to help one small business in a remote community that has major food insecurity. So, yeah, what's going to come out of this, I don't know. The government moves like molasses. And I honestly don't know if they even care.
It often feels that way,
Yeah.
like based on, yeah, your location. That seems to
What do you
affect how much they care or don't care.
what do you remember from those discussions with ISK staff about this and other things related to the recovery? Like, because I know I remember some of the comments you had about how they showed up and things that they said, but what was kind of like your recollection of their general sort of attitude or ability to manage something like, your file?
Um, Definitely didn't seem like any priority. I mean, yeah, like you're meaning just the lunchboxes file.
Yeah, I mean the lunchbox file, and I mean we could talk the whole recovery in general. I didn't want to get too much into the community part of it because that's little reds, but I mean behavior and attitude doesn't change from your file to the big recovery, right?
No, it did not. It did not. It was still, yeah, it just seemed like I recall them being asked, like, what are they going to do with the upcoming fire season? Are they going to have people in place to just handle a file for Fox Lake, or, and they just, yeah, had no game plan.
Yeah, but they expected the nation to have a game plan.
Right. Everything the nation presented to them, they expected the nation to have a game plan of why and how and what, and then they're okay to just go on without one.
They expected you to have a game plan on how to rebuild and recover,
Right.
right? But the government won't. They never went that far, and it's I just it kills me. But I mean, I remember when I saw your grand opening post on Facebook. Like for me, that was right, like a major milestone of success, and to see you all in the store, kind of customers coming in, it was so full, like there were so many people in there, like that.
You couldn't move an inch.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing to see you go from where you were May 3rd, 2023 to that grand opening, right? That's why it kind of says it speaks to your resilience as a family. That was our last Wi-Fi issue.
I don't remember what I was saying, but I'm back.
Yeah, I can't. Oh man, I forget. Yeah, your Wi-Fi dropped out. I forget what I forget what I was asking. I think it was something along the lines of being resilient and the time that it's taken. Like for me, again, if I was you, I probably would have had a heart attack by now fighting the government.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Not depending on them. Trying to trying to find a way wherever I can, I guess.
Yeah, that's the secret sauce, right? You're not depending on them. You're moving forward through this in your own best interest, and whatever they end up doing, they end up doing. Okay, well let me ask you this. If like if they come back and they basically say, okay, we're not going to give you the rest of the money, would that be kind of like a trigger for you to like either say, okay, see you later and walk away, or would you want to continue to kind of like advocate for yourself and get the funding?
I would want to advocate for myself at
Okay.
the funding.
Yeah. So you'll still move forward.
They shouldn't say they're gonna and then not.
It's the federal government.
Well, but that seems to be
They're counting on you. They're counting on outweighting you And so you just fade away and never bother them again.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it like that.
Well, that's what
That they just moved real slow.
that's why they move so slow on things like this, because they've got time, right?
Right. Meanwhile, yeah, people on our end sit here and suffer.
Yeah, and it's so I don't know where. I guess we put this out. We wait and see what comes forward in April. Hopefully, I'm still hopeful that they will come through, regardless of the ridiculous amount of time that it's taken. And I know you guys are going to keep moving forward. So I guess we'll have to kind of like do an update to this in April, May, and see what the final result is.
Yeah, see if they get back to us what they say, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you, having me part of your story, and being able to kind of like involve me in telling this, like through my channels, at least, to try and get some awareness of this. So thank Viola for that too. Like I'm rooting for you guys, and I'm writing my own letters to the government weekly about all these different kind of issues, and I just really hope that they come through.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they do. I mean, I guess that's what we're hoping for too. Um, but yeah, also if this brings any awareness and prepares other people that might go through the same circumstances, and yeah, then some good came out of it.
Well, yeah, I think it will. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people interested in this story, and I think there's a lot of people involved in Indigenous economic development that would be very interested in this, especially now that ISK has funded you. I think what they're going to do across Canada is basically tell others that they're not eligible, and that's going to become a permanent policy decision for them, regardless of what a provincial or territorial program says. And I think ISK is going to try and weasel out of this, but I don't think we should let them for in the future.
Well, no, if the provincial governments are doing it, I think ISK needs to as well.
Yeah, or at least if the but for me, like the provincial governments, even if they are doing it or winding down their support, that winding down has been going on, for a long time. If it even is in the books, ISK didn't even really support, and then they're making the decision not to support in the future. If that is the case, I mean, I would guarantee they've already told other on reserve businesses that they're not eligible, whether it was 5 years ago or yesterday, right? And I just don't think they should be allowed to get away with that and silo out their policy dependent on where a person lives.
No, they shouldn't.
So,
Which,
just my humble
yeah, it
opinion.
shouldn't really matter if it's Fox Lake or Jasper.
Yep. Exactly. I don't know. Do you have any parting words, anything I didn't touch on that you wanted to express or put out there?
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
we touched base on mostly everything.
Okay.
Everything that comes to mind for me.
Okay. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you speaking out about this. It's not an easy thing to kind of put yourself out there, and I think it'll do some positive things here going forward, and we'll do whatever we can to kind of get the attention of the minister on this, and maybe she can, punch some of her influence down through her department a little bit and get things moving a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, there's not really any need for it to take this. Hopefully.
Yeah, you're right. There's absolutely no need.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very small percentage in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's couch. It's coins in their coffee their coffee room couch.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean we can't be grateful for what they have done so far. But to me it's an obligation, and whatever percentage that they've paid you so far to date, there's nothing acceptable other than 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So,
But yeah, I guess we'll see what spring brings us.
spring.
If they even get back to me.
Well, it's it's kind of one of those things where you got to kind of put in your calendar, let's book another time to send off a follow-up email like March 31st, right? Or you won't hear back from them. They're not sitting at their desks saying, "Oh, March 31st, gotta get back to Wendell." They don't care. They're just gonna hope that you either go away, or they'll just stick on their own timelines, and who knows what they'll come up with.
Well, I won't go away.
No. Good.
We'll make them. We'll do our best to make them stick to their word.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, I won't keep you much longer then, and I appreciate again you coming on here, and we're of course we're always staying in touch, so we'll stay in touch.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Wendell.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Yeah.